Warren Buffett is sitting on $325 billion of cash after selling off stock, waiting till after a collapse to buy bargain stock. If the dollar is going down to zero, why keep cash of no value? Even if they were to magically decide to back a currency with gold, I mean, we saw Zimbabwe make this attempt, right? When that happens, you fix the debt where it is. So if the debt is already unpayable, you can't inflate it away. That's a problem.
Why is Warren Buffett sitting on $325 billion in cash if the dollar is dying? And why won't he admit how much gold he's really holding? Because Lynette Zang says the reset is already locked in, the debt is unpayable, and this entire system died back in 2008. The new currency is coming, premiums are rising, and only physical gold and silver survive what happens next. Stay right here, because what Lynette reveals after this will change how you protect your wealth before the reset hits.
This is really the big push that President Trump has been using to try and get manufacturing back. I mean, I was a stockbroker early in my career, I mean, in the 1980s, when it was all about globalization and shipping manufacturing offshore, and I could see the dangers in it then, and we just have been dealing with the consequences in the broken supply chains. So that is a really good point, because what everything is about right now, and this is really an indication of where we are in this trend cycle, that it is all just hopium, right? And gambling and manipulation and money printing. It's not real. So to your point, yeah, we have to make stuff. We have to bring value to this world. What we've brought is financialization. And what that means is that everything has become purely a commodity, right? And it's for the traders to benefit. This is why we have to take our power back. But this is also a real indication of being at the very end of this trend cycle. Is critically important. And, you know, I'm counting on you guys, because if you show up every week, then I know that the message that I bring really resonates, and you're the army. You're the ones that need to go out and spread this message. That's why these dime cards are really so important. And I mean, I hope we don't get a big rush. She's going to kill me. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And I want everybody to utilize this and help people understand, because it makes a point. It says have a paradigm shift. We need to help people have that paradigm shift so that they can begin to make educated choices that puts their best interest first. And frankly, redeemable gold in the system puts your best interest first, because it puts the power back in your hand. It's really important. So, yeah, this is the push to bring manufacturing back. I think potentially that could certainly happen, and we need it to happen. But what's happening as well is we're starting in a brand new system. So if we had the manufacturing back and we were in a new monetary order, we would have the ability to grow wealth. And if you are sitting with gold that maintains your purchasing power, when those dollar inflated instruments fall, but they don't disappear, whether it's whatever it is, even those cryptocurrencies that might remain in the system like XRP or whatever, right? You'll buy it a whole lot cheaper than you're going to buy it today. That's all part of the strategy, is taking advantage of this wealth transfer. What a concept, having it transfer your way. But yeah, we have to bring value to the world. We have to. And Aluminum asks, how does one create wealth when you're forced to use fiat debt to exist? You convert it into gold and silver. You come together in local community to create that surety in food, water, energy, security, barterability, which for me is primarily silver. but it can be in any form, and your talents, anything that you have, anything physical is also barterable. Wealth preservation, which this is it for me. Community is critical. We need to start talking to each other. We need to start having conversations, even the hard conversations, even the conversations that we don't want to do. And ultimately, you got to have shelter. So that's how you create wealth. Because, if we let them, then we're going to be working for nothing. Did we not just see that with the government shutdown? And it's not really over yet. And we haven't really felt all the ramifications of that yet. And it's coming up again in January. So we'll see what happens then. But if you're depending upon fiat, you cannot create wealth. Exactly. And you will work for less and less and less, even though number-wise, it looks like more and more and more. It's really not. It's really not. And Dana CR4 says, hi, Lynette. Thoughts on Glint versus Kinesis for cash account? Really hard to find good current info on either company. You know what? I will do I'll do a spreadsheet on that so you can see the differences, which I've done before, but I'll show you the differences between Glint. So I'll have that for you next week. And let's see, RJ Flippo, it's not just the U.S. government printing. Have you heard about the Peruvian counterfeits flowing through our system? Hell, even banks can't even distinguish them. We are very cotton heavy. Well, I haven't really heard about that, but what do you think? What do you think this stuff is? This is counterfeit to this. You know, when we were in Cambodia and we went to the Money Museum, which was really, really interesting, and at the end of the tour, there's this little black light machine, and she's like, oh, do you want to see the difference between, a real money and a counterfeit? And she pulls out the Cambodian bills and she puts it under the black light. And I said, that's counterfeit. And she said, no, this is real money. I said, no. And I pulled out my gold and my silver, and I said, no, this is real money. Anything else is counterfeit. And by the way, I didn't say this part because I didn't have all this, but can you tell me the difference between this $20 bill and this $500 bill? Your trust. That's it. It's the only difference. You agree to work for this. You agree to let them inflate your wealth away with this. Why? Let's not agree to that anymore. Now, we can't stop where we are in this cycle. So even if this isn't going to happen, it can't happen. But even if they were to magically decide to back a currency with gold, I mean, we saw Zimbabwe make this attempt, right? When that happens, you fix the debt where it is. So if the debt is already unpayable, you can't inflate it away. That's a problem. So just understand. This junk, this is counterfeit too. This is real money. This is real money. That's what you have to hold. And I don't care what the form is. I really don't care what that form is. And Wolf 728 says, Lynette, Warren Buffett is sitting on $325 billion of cash after selling off stock, waiting till after a collapse to buy bargain stock. If the dollar is going down to zero, why keep cash of no value? Well, Warren's father knew all about gold, redeemable gold inside of the monetary system again, and he fought hard for it, which means that I know how he was raised to value gold. My bet is that he's sitting on top of a lot of it, but he is kind of a shill for the system. Let's face it, that is a big part of his job. So, you will, and if he's sitting on a whole bunch of cash and it really goes to zero, and they come out with this new currency, there's going to be a period of time where you can convert that cash into that new currency at, a substantial discount to the amount of bills that you're holding. But that's what he could be waiting for. I don't know this for sure because Warren has never taken me into his confidence. But my bet would be that he's sitting on a lot of gold, but he doesn't want to say that because his job is to be a shill. And he's benefited quite handsomely from it on many levels. Plus he's giving it away. So, I don't think he thinks I think he has a different view of sitting on $325 billion than you, probably not than me, but than most other people. Because I do think differently. Which is why Jacqueline's having a cow right now. I'm sorry, Jacqueline. I just couldn't help myself. I just couldn't. But I'm sure that Warren is sitting on substantial wealth outside of the system. I would bet you he's got this. I would bet you he's got that, and plenty of it. So that if he loses the $325 billion, doesn't matter. He'll recoup it. And by the way, that's what the strategy, the sound money strategy is based on, this full circle loop. So if you are, whatever cash you're sitting on, or we were talking about the first part, the cash part of your portfolio, and even the barterable part, right, of your portfolio in gold and silver, understand the point of that piece is for you to use it. But you've always got to have principle to work with when we get throughout and then when we get to the other side. So that's what the gold and silver does. It makes sure that on the other side of this mess, you actually have something to work with into the new system. Because while I will fight to my last breath to get sound money back in our system and level this playing field, I don't like some central bank sitting there or some government agent sitting there determining who the winner and the losers are. I want a fair playing field. I actually want a real capitalist system based on supply and demand. What a concept. Well, the only way we can have that is if we have redeemable gold in our monetary system again, because that's what forces that fiscal responsibility, period. So we will see. Why keep the cash? Because that is the first line of defense for you and me. For Warren, he's got so much, I don't think $325 billion is chump change to him. It doesn't really mean very much. And I'm certain he's got proper diversification to offset those losses. And Ernest DeBella asks, I am not confident the government will be forced to course correct in time to avoid the reset. No, they can't. It's too late. It's been too late for a long. It was too late in 2008. That's when the system really died. So I agree with you. Government will be forced to course correct in time to avoid the reset. But is there a path the government can take to get back to gold and silver standard? And if so, what would that look like? Well, look, when one currency dies, another one is born. Gold and silver are your bridge. And what that looks like is putting redeemable gold as part of the system again. It doesn't have to be a 1-to-1 ratio. It certainly could be. Right? 1-to-1. So there's that 85,000 currently based upon the level of gold that exists above ground and in ground and the level of debt. And we don't know what the level of derivatives are. So 85,000 is probably chump change because that's going to be way bigger than any level of cash that's in the system. But there is no way to avoid it. The reset must happen because the debt is unpayable. And so the way that governments choose to repay it is with currency that has zero value, right? So we have to go through this hyperinflationary depression. We have a choice on how we go through it, right? If you're sitting with just paper, intangible assets, etc., you're not going to be in a great place on the other side. If you're entering it with a sound money strategy, then you're going to be taking advantage of opportunities along the way. So it's based for right now, midterm as we're going through it, and then long term afterwards. You are going to be in a much better position, presuming history repeats, and I see no reason why it hasn't.
If Lynette's warning helped you see what's coming, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. This channel keeps you ahead of the reset, and you don't want to miss what's next.